Charlie here. So I wanted to discuss the ETFs that we've seen switch over. I waited till they all came in from the big players, and it appears that they're all in. So let's go ahead and take a look at some in-game ETFs, and it's for real the in-game this time, y'all. Okay. So what's changed? AMC and GME market cap has gone up since January, obviously, making it difficult for ETFs to enter in because it's based on future progress. Like, where will they be in 3 months? Now, it seems to be, from a business standpoint, a little bit more clear as to where GameStop is headed. AMC does have plans as well, so we'll have to see how that goes. MSCI, don't forget, is adding or has already been adding GME and AMC this month. And unlike prior index switches, this one is not a rebalance. They will simply be buying and adding GME and AMC to the MSCI index. So not sure if that was a part of last Tuesday or not. I thought it was going to be happening the last day of this month, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, BlackRock was the primary ETF owner before. Now it appears to be primarily J&L Trust mixed with BlackRock and State Street. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the new ETFs on the block for GameStop, I will do a separate one for AMC. We have IWB, IWR, and IWP. From iShares. Now, basically, this is IJT, IXT, and IJR all dumped out, and then they transitioned over to the mid-cap size. And then, of course, it's basically the same setup that we saw before, except the only difference is that GameStop is actually weighted higher than the XTSLA fund in IWP. And it happens to be the one with the most shares as well. So the new ETFs continued from iShares is IWF. And then we also, I found the first import with a hinting of securities lending. So the master investment portfolio from BlackRock is in here. And that is actually a securities lending fund. And it says right here in the import, is any portion of this investment on loan by the fund? Yes. How many? Or how much value? 224,000. Interesting shit. So they have 31.754 thousand shares in the master investment portfolio that is specifically a feeder fund, and they are lending shares out, and we'll see to who in a second. They also have SMMD, which, interestingly enough, their number one holding is IWM, which has AMC in it, the most AMC in it. So very interesting shit here. And then you also have XTSLA. So XTSLA will be in all of these as a cash collateral vehicle. But what's interesting is that inside of SMMD, you have IWM as the number one with GameStop weighted at 0.18. Look how much IWM is weighted. 43.47. That's crazy. So 43.47% of the assets in the ETF, SMMD, are IWM. I feel like the most manipulated ETF on the planet. So after just verifying that BlackRock is lending GameStop via their master portfolio feeder fund, to who? Well, these are the list of banks and hedge funds, broker-dealers that they're lending to, and all 24 have outstanding loan balances. Now, does this mean that they're lending GameStop to all of these parties? No, but could be. Now let's look at State Street. So State Street is bullish as shit as far as their ETF breakdown. All of these right here have GameStop in them, and they're all large cap growth or mid cap growth or mid cap core. And we also have the SPGM, which makes me think that last week we did see some MSCI buying in because, again, the MSCI ETF is already here. And most of their holdings are broken down like this. So we have GME now with Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, JP Morgan Chase, Visa, all that shit. And then if you'll notice right here, XTSLA is to BlackRock as GVMXX is to State Street. So if we take a look at Buzz, it's another State Street ETF, for an example. Look at their top 10 holdings. We have AMD, NVIDIA, Tesla. There's their money market fund again. We have Apple, Amazon, Ford. And, what? GameStop's on a top 10 holding with Amazon, Apple, Palantir, Tesla? Interesting. Now let's look at GVMXX. What is in their holdings? Well, that's where we see Federal Reserve Bank tri-party repo as their top holding. So wait a minute. How come the Fed Reserve is the number one holding in this money market fund? That's interesting to me. So GVMXX, this is State Street's money market fund. This is all of their tri-party repos highlighted in purple here. So you can see right here, HSBC, Royal Bank, Bank of Nova Scotia, ING, UBS, Citigroup, HSBC. A lot of those names appear here. And it appears, since it's a tri-party repo or U.S. government agency repurchase agreement, that means that the Fed is acting as a intermediary, which could explain why they're shown up here as number one. So interesting how this is all tying together. Now let's look at TSLA now, as far as their holdings. And same thing applies. Tri-party Federal Reserve Bank. You have tri-party Citigroup, tri-party Credit Agricole, tri-party JP Morgan, Natixis, Societe Generale. I know I butcher that every time. Sorry about that. So again, all similar names here. You see how it doesn't show up here as far as the Fed, but it does here? I thought that was weird. XTSLA continued. These two make up the biggest weighting on the ETF. It's the tri-party BNP Paribas and Barclays Bank PLC. Jesus, they must be in a lot of debt. And they also have the biggest outstanding debt balance as well on the import filings. So last but not least, the Fidelity money market fund is FMDGX, and it just so happens to be the Fidelity Securities Lending Cash Central Fund. Now, the problem is I can't find this anywhere, the import, to see if who they're lending out to specifically. But what's interesting is that on July 31st, the latest reporting period for the money market fund data, it took up nearly 10% of the entire volume from Fidelity that day. So it is what it is, but I think there's some lending going on in this repo window. I mean, it's almost a guarantee based on the data. So I think this is where I'll stop. Next, we're going to take a look into the big J&L series trust mergers and additions to GameStop and AMC. So we'll look at that. So yeah, everything's been transitioned over. We had a small cap to mid cap change for GameStop, and the ETFs are changing right along with that. And the coolest part is that they're all big name stocks. So I don't know if GME and AMC will end up saving the market, or if GME will. I've seen more large caps in GameStop than AMC. However, there still are large caps in AMC. So we'll have to continue to see how the month plays out. Shit's getting close. But yeah, this is basically the new ETF breakdown. Lots of good signs. And we'll look at the latest and the best of them all, this one right here, next time. So y'all have a good weekend. Talk to you in 5 minutes.